it's as good a place as any to just go.
Nice.
Yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to Church of Chonkwij Podcast. My name is Squiddy Bang Bang, and I'm joined tonight by Masami and OmegaConstruct and Squidbuster. Squidbuster?
Yes, Squidbuster. You know, like who you gonna call? Squidbusters.
Oh, like the movie that they should have made in 2016.
We don't talk about that movie.
Something new and original instead of the same damn thing. Over and over. The fuck just happened? Oh no, there it is. Never mind. I see you.
Yeah, for some reason, DisplayPort will not send over. It's the what is it? HDCP?
HDMI, but that's close enough.
No. I'm using DisplayPort for my new monitor, my curved monitor that I got.
DisplayPort is too modern for me. I don't know anything about it because I'm old.
Yeah, it's HDCP. It's copyright protection, and it's Discord does not play well with DisplayPort.
DisplayPort is basically the open source free version of HDMI, which is held by, I believe, Sony. So whenever people want to use an HDMI port, they have to pay Sony for the frickin' pleasure. And DisplayPort, they don't.
Yeah, that's dumb. I still use DVI.
Yeah.
See,
I'm so
at least DisplayPort looks like a D on the side, which I thought you'd be a fan of.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. All right, so I'm already getting sucked into watching Zero just run around in Destiny. But it's been a couple weeks since we have convened and gone over the boatload of articles that have been accumulating in Cox, and we start this out with some nice news for a change, which is that Diablo 2 Resurrected patch 2.4.3 is now live. So Diablo Resurrected, or D2R, is getting updates, actual updates, bounce patches, things like this. Went live on June 29th. And there's a whole bunch of stuff here. And I'm not sure, Omega, have you checked it out yet?
I have. It's pretty cool. They've done a lot of quality of life improvements, but most importantly is that they actually made some not insignificant changes to a few classes that I wouldn't say they've shaken up the meta, so to speak. But they have added a few things to it, which is kind of fun. It's good. Nothing too crazy. Nothing that, if you didn't know that it happened, there's a chance you might not realize that it happened. It's in some ways it's subtle, but if you know what changed, you can play around with it quite a bit. It's pretty cool.
So the way that you start a game, the way that you pick a game, private games, public games, whatnot, has all that been revamped, it looks like?
Not that I've seen. No, that's still a shit show. But I don't really go looking for public games that often, so it's just not something that's necessarily something I pay attention to.
Gotcha. Besides the big, pretty pictures in this article catching my attention for game creation, I also remember a couple times watching you play, trying to navigate your way through party creation, especially whilst chat was getting spammed with gold offers or gold sellers, gear sellers.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a fun thing.
Chinese gold farmers.
Yeah, the problem for that also persists in Lost Ark. Lost Ark supposedly Lost Ark has made it impossible to play the game through a VPN, which pissed off a bunch of its OG community because lots of people are playing in countries that don't let them access Lost Ark, China, and that was done in an effort to try and get rid of bots. It didn't work at all. They're the same number of bots that are on there. Lost Ark hasn't even made a dent into there. And then they made two-factor authentication required for all trade chat. That hasn't done anything for eliminating bots. And I have absolutely no idea what their next announced thing is going to be to eliminate bots and spammers, but I feel like it's not going to work, because nothing's worked yet. Hope Diablo has better ideas. Yeah, but
of course, ActiBliz always has good ideas. Never a bad idea.
Well, we're not... Okay, good segue. That is a good segue. But we have slightly more positive news to go, and then we can talk about that. So Diablo 3 PTR 2.7.4
Yes.
has been announced. Yep, so there's going to be a new season. This is a July 8th article. So yeah, has anybody... I saw Leetness talking about it. That's it. I'm not sure if anybody else has checked it out.
I haven't fully read it, but I did see where they're nerf sharking the Ina's build.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one thing we did talk about. Yeah, Ina's getting a nerf. It's about time. It was fun while it lasted, though.
It's the only... It has been for many seasons in a row, the only S+ tier. It's got its own thing on Max Roll, or its own category on Max Roll.
I mean, it was kind of going back to even when they first... which season was it that they first really started fucking shit up?
Like 15.
I feel like that's when they introduced whatever changes made Fire Ally stupid OP was paired with it was the Shadow Clone season. I think Shadow Clone season was where Ina's Monk became stupid OP and became the new meta. And then after that they had the Ethereal season, which was perfectly suited for the Ina's Monk as well, so it was still stupidly OP. So yeah.
I know this has nothing to do with anything, but there's a user in Twitch chat right now. His name is Makerplier. Nice try, Makerplier. It's a Markiplier reference. Never mind. Okay, so yeah.
Nope, I got it. I just
I thought you were all about making her pliable.
That sounds like a get her done moment. Get her done.
Jesus Christ.
It's been fun, guys. I'm calling it a night.
Yeah. I was just going to talk about how Jesus fuck, Zero. How many... It would probably help if other people could actually see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
How many of those fucking dudes just poured out of that hole in the wall?
About 8.
Why AoE attacks?
Because they're all for some reason fucking immune, and I don't know why.
That makes me sad. I love blowing up groups of enemies. I love watching Omega spam power abilities in Mass Effect 3. Especially Warp. It's good AoE.
Yeah, it's fun.
Alright, anyway, so there are, Diablo 3 for the new season is going to be seriously cranking up love for Crusader, Necromancer, Wizard, and Demon Hunter. So there are some new gimmicks.
Barb is getting a new ability as well. Or
season 27. Yeah, they're altering how skills work.
Yeah.
So Barb,
not so much giving him a new skill, but Whirlwind Barb is getting Whirlwind Barb is turning into Hoover Barb.
Exactly, yeah. Whirlwind Barb pulls in and holds all enemies within 25 yards. So that's fucking sweet, especially if you got Whirlwind Barb is a rend build, so that's pretty great.
Shit, I'm looking at the PTR notes now, and they're doing another stupid powerful thing.
Which one are they doing now?
They are introducing sanctified powers, which is what you're talking about. So that's what these are. Like, it's not a permanent change. It is a upgrade to certain powers for each class. And
so angelic
the barbarian.
crucibles.
So yeah, like the bar pulls in enemy, like the whirlwind pulls in enemies and within 25 yards. Hammer of the Ancients hits in all directions. Every 7th cast unleashes a shockwave. And then hitting enemies generates stacks of Tempest Rhythm, activating Wrath of Berserker consumes stacks, and blah blah blah, whatever. So yeah, it seems that that's what they're going for. Angelic Crucible, Sanctified. Oh, and there's also Sanctified items.
Yes.
Which are, it seems to be, you just get to make, kind of make your own primal ancients. Sanctifying an item reforges it to have perfect ancient level stats on all affixes while also preserving the legendary power. In addition, it grants one of 3 new powers unique to each class.
There's a bullet point in there, too, that says, no stats are preserved when sanctifying an item. To me, that sounds like it wipes out all the item's stats and replaces them.
Yeah, it's like a reroll on all the affixes, but all the affixes that you get will be maxed. So there's no reason to try and imbue it or whatever the reroll, whatever stat it is, with what's her face. Because once you sanctify it, it's just going to be re-rolled with new stats, and so now what we need to do is hope to get the leg drop that we're looking for, and then use whatever thing we need to do to sanctify the item, and hope that we get a good roll on that. So prepare for a season that's basically filled with something we love dearly, which is trash primals.
Dude, trash primals are the absolute best.
The reason I'm not complaining about this at all is because it's all fucking free. I'm not calling it gambling because it's all fucking free. I'm fine with this.
I'll be honest, I'm having a hard time getting excited for another season of D3.
I mean, me as well. Usually, how this worked last season is I jumped into the PTR, I tried it out with you, and we were like, dude, this is fucking cool, this is sweet, and then the actual season hit, and we were like, meh.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think I won't be doing the PTR again. Because not only that, but the way PTRs work, advancement is so ridiculously fast, and it's so easy to get everything you need that when it comes time to actually play the season, it's like, I already did this and it was way easier, so why am I going through this again? And it kind of, honestly, doing the PTR for last season, fucking around with whatever the hell those things were called, I
don't remember either.
I don't know, whatever,
Dealies.
Screaming Stones or whatever the fuck they were, I don't know. Whatever the fuck that was, in the PTR, you just were like, yeah, give me this gift bag from this vendor that has like 40 of the fuckers in it. And hey, guess what? You're done. So, like, I don't know. I do feel like it kind of robbed a little bit of the fun that I could have had during the season. So I'm gonna stay away from the BTR this time, I think.
Yeah, pretty much the same. All right, so wait, we covered Barbarian, Crusader, Blessed Hammer. I'm just gonna skip through Crusader. I've never had a fun Crusader build. Blessed Hammer just pissed me off. Fist of Heavens is okay, but Demon Hunter, Strafe now casts non-channeled hatred spending ability cast, which is pretty fucking cool. Strafe now casts the last non-channeled hatred spending ability casted, which is pretty sweet. And then
so that means Strafe will fire your multi-shot.
Yes, absolutely. And firing Cluster Arrow now concentrates its explosive force into a piercing ray of light, which is interesting. Looking forward to seeing how that is horribly abused, because Cluster Arrow is pretty great. Monk, they are funneling people towards the Wave of Light build, the bells. I fucking love the bells. I used to love that build, so that is nice to see again.
Well, they're also buffing 100 Fists. They're buffing the...
They are, Exploding Palm.
That is, Exploding Palm. I forget which armor set that is, but yeah, they're doing a double buff on that.
Oh, Juliana's is the armor set. Yeah, right. Target for your 7-sided strike is barraged with spiritual punches for 15 seconds. This can only affect one enemy at a time. So they have gotten out. The problem with Exploding Palm was always that you needed trash, you needed mobs to trigger as many Exploding Palm explosions as you possibly could. So when you got around to the RG, you were fucked. This makes it...
I remember the first season I did Exploding Palm, and it just fucking wrecked everything, and then you spent 5 minutes killing the Rift Guardian.
Exactly. Yeah, I had the same issue first time I did Juliana's Monk when they introduced that set. It was a great set, great concept, but it was shit at single target. So this season, they fixed the single target problem. Assuming that you've got the DPS, you just cast this seven-sided strike on the RG, and then for the next 15 seconds, he gets punched by, I don't know what, spiritual monks? Ethereal monks? Yeah. Oh.
It could be fun. I might give that a try. I really did enjoy Seven-Sided Strike. As OP as Ina's build is, the most fun I've had with a monk in all of D3 was Seven-Sided Strike Exploding Palm build. That was, whenever I did that long ago, that was probably the most fun I had. So I'm kind of excited. And I might start off with that. I have to see what the Hadrix is this season, though.
Juliana Monk was, it was really nice watching the entire screen explode.
Mm-hmm.
Witch
Doctor, you do the spin thing that sucks them all. You got your vacuum move. You lay down your Exploding Palm, which primes them all. Or no, you lay down your Seven-Sided Strike, which primes them all, and then you hit your Exploding Palm, and they all just fucking explode in a giant chain reaction that nukes everything. But, like, it is the chain reaction that does the nuking, and when you're just fighting an RG, there's no chain, so...
Right, yeah.
Slapping him with a wet noodle for however long it takes.
Yeah, you have to apply Exploding Palm once, and then enemies damaged by your... Or how is it? Enemies that are damaged by... Okay, Seven-Sided Strike triggers the explosion for Exploding Palm. Enemies damaged by the explosion of Exploding Palm have Exploding Palm applied to them.
Yeah, so it just propagates outwards.
Right, yeah. So you hit one guy, and then it just spreads to the rest of the screen. It's pretty fucking outstanding. Anyway, yeah, they're doing some stuff for Witch Doctor too. It looks like Haunt is getting a love. 5 seconds after casting Haunt, all haunted enemies within 50 yards are pulled to the Witch Doctor. Could be fun.
Ooh, the Gargantuan changes look fun.
Yeah, and the Gargantuan spreads Locust Swarm to any enemy within 16 yards, and summons zombie dogs periodically.
And zombie dogs gain every rune.
Which is, that's actually kind of great.
Wait, so does that mean only, like, the zombie dogs spawned by your Gargantuan gain every rune, or does that mean if you use zombie dogs, it just automatically has every rune now? Do they just... It's got to be the former. It's got to be the former, because that would be such a drastic change if they just made one of the skills like, yeah, this one doesn't have runes anymore. It's a shitty skill, so we're just giving it all the runes to make it viable again. I can't see them doing that.
And Wizard, okay, casting Arcane Orb now periodically spawns before orb charging level. Blah, blah, blah. Magic Missile fires 20 missiles and gains the effect of the Seeker rune. Okay, yeah. So, Magic Missile. That sounds fun.
The developer's notes, lame. So last season was the Lords of Hell exploring what Nephilim would do if they possessed the powers of Hell. This season, we want to witness what players can accomplish with the powers of Heaven. 21 unique class powers will introduce changes and skills that will redefine the way you play or build or set. Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. That's the other thing about these seasons, though. Like, each season has the cool seasons. Like, each time they do a season, they add the new season bullshit with some balance changes. It always ends up being the balance changes that are significant, not the actual seasonal shit. Like, whatever was powerful before, if it didn't get nerfed, it is now more powerful with the seasonal shit. So, yeah, they say here, when they say here, new, redefine the way you play a build or set. No, it doesn't. It'll just make the build or set that you want to play more powerful. That's one of my gripes about D3, is that, like, there is not much build diversity in terms of, like, here's how this build works. That's how it works. If you want to do something different, it's not going to work. Here's how this build works. If you want to change something there, it's just not going to work. Yeah, so that's a little unfortunate. But we'll see what these changes do. Could be fun. New powers added, new tweaks to the powers.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Anyway, Zero, what was that segue that you had a while back about Blizzard never doing anything stupid?
I mean, I was being completely facetious, but continue.
No, it was an excellent segue because we get to now talk about how NetEase has delayed Diablo Immortal's release in China. Delayed, quote unquote. There's a good reason for that.
Actually, just one quick thing. Looking through the patch notes, one last thing. Apparently, Echoing Nightmares are transitioning from a seasonal thing to a permanent feature.
Really?
So just like they did the season where they gave your follower all the gear slots, and they were just like, "Yeah, we're keeping that." They're doing that with the Echoing Nightmares again too, which means you get that like Uber Boss realm kind of thing, and
something that you can Caldazon's onto gear.
Oh, apparently they also changed default difficulty settings to be consistent for all players and platforms. So apparently for some other platforms or players it was different because, now you have access to T6, up to T6 by default, and then reaching 70 you gain access to 16. That's how it was before, right?
Yes.
So that must have been some weird specific thing for, what, is D3 fucking on consoles?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Linus used to play it on Xbox.
So did I. Before I was enlightened.
I can't really. I mean, Diablo 3 was designed for PC, so I can't really imagine, like inventory management, for example. I can't imagine doing that on Xbox, or I imagine it being much more tedious and kind of a pain in the ass.
It actually wasn't that bad.
Interesting.
The transition from Xbox to PC was not that hard. The worst part of it was getting used to mouse and keyboard, which is not something that I was used to.
Sword and board. Well, you know what? You don't need sword and board to play. That's Diablo Immortal. NetEase delayed Diablo Immortal release in China. The reason that they delayed the release in China is because a couple days later, Diablo Immortal has reportedly been banned in China. So Diablo Immortal has been, according to a Reddit user from the country who claims to have an explanation for the matter. If true, this ban would come as a huge disappointment for the game's fans across China. It would also come as a huge disappointment to Activiz, seeing as they know the mobile market in China is juicy.
Listen, they announced Diablo Immortal with big thing at BlizzCon with the don't you have a phone? But like, let's be honest, this game was made for China.
Oh yeah, China and Korea.
Any massive pay-to-win mobile game like this they're almost exclusively designed to cash in on the Chinese market, where mobile gaming is absurdly massive because a lot of people just don't have consoles or computers and shit, but everybody has a phone. And them losing access to China is a huge blow for just their financial expectations for that game.
So the speculation around this was that an individual used the official Diablo Immortal social media account to post a thread which said, "When would the bear fall off the seat?" I don't know why that's supposed to be insulting. I assume that it's the bear part referring to Chairman Z, because he fucking hates Winnie the Pooh so goddamn much. I don't understand why.
Well, it's not that he hates Winnie the Pooh, it's that people make fun of him, calling him Winnie the Pooh and drawing him as Winnie the Pooh. And
he does look like Winnie the Pooh.
I mean, I don't even necessarily see the resemblance. That's neither here nor there, but that's the reason for it, is that it's used as like a subversive thing to fucking clamp down shit is in China. So they see posting that as a subversive anti-government thing, and they crack down on that.
So this ultimately, it was seen as open provocation. So we're not Nobody is sure whether this was done intentionally or the person who posted this forgot to switch off of their official Diablo social media account before posting this.
Yeah,
So
imagine
anyway,
it's just some fucking puke who's like a social media guy and just sits there making bullshit posts all day, and then he finally gets home and fires off something he thinks like 5 people are gonna see, and next thing he knows, he's fucking caused a international business to lose out on an entire nation's market.
So apparently when you do something that the communist government of China does not appreciate online, NetEase steps in and can revoke, let's see, according to NetEase may not receive a license to host games on its servers for the next 3 years. However, they are unsure if this bit of information regarding NetEase is accurate. So this is all speculation, but there's a very clear post right here that was made on Weibo.com.
Weibo!
And the Reddit user basically says it's because of this tweet that NetEase is not allowed to release Diablo Immortal in China for at least 3 years. So I wish that I was sad for Diablo Immortal, but I'm not, because it's a fucking predatory gambling game and it's horrible. I'd love to see it crash and burn, because I'm a bad person.
Beautiful burning.
Beautiful fire. Diablo Immortal also not having a good week this week, as Maxroll announces that it's discontinuing its Diablo Immortal branch. Maxroll made a whole post about this that I think Omega posted.
Yeah, it was pretty significant, because like Maxroll, they're a build website for Diablo and a couple other related games. Like they got a Path of Exile section and some other stuff.
And a Lost Ark section now.
Yeah, it's becoming one of the, like, pretty much my go-to plays. Like, it's supplanted Icy Veins. I like the way that their page is laid out. I like the guides that they do. They're really well made, in depth. There is, I know, some drama in the Diablo community between the guys who created Maxroll and guys on other sites and whatnot, and that's all bullshit that I don't give a shit about. I just like the functionality of Maxroll. But for them to just straight up be like it's not even that the content wasn't good on their website, or that it wasn't getting clicks, or it was not worth them doing. They straight up said, like, we can't in good conscience support this game by providing guides for it, so we are shutting it down. Like, they basically explicitly laid out that this is a fuck you to Diablo Immortal, not a this is not lucrative for us, or this is not working for us. This is a fuck you to this awful game.
Yeah, they line it out in 5 points. The first one is the economic structure of Diablo Immortal. It is, they describe it as predatory pay to win, and I'm inclined to agree, because they're fucking right. Everything there, every opportunity at monetization has been jumped upon by Mr. Wang and the Diablo Immortal developers. Number 2 is disengagement and community response. Yeah, this game was in closed alpha, it was in closed beta, it was in open beta, and the community was giving feedback to ActiBliz throughout that entire time. And Maxroll just feels like ActiBliz did not listen at all to anything that anyone said. Unrewarding gameplay. Yeah, because they didn't.
What's really interesting is that apparently, like, the Maxroll guys, and this is just how the community is, like, they had actual inside access during the alpha and beta process. Like, they weren't just another group of people who were jumping into the PTRs and shit like us schlubs. Like, they actually had access and communication channels, and like they had access to the alpha, and they gave a whole bunch of feedback. In their post, they say the alpha was probably the best version of the game, because that was just the game before any of the pay-to-win shit got in there. And they played that, and they were like, that's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, they describe it as having potential. ActiBliz really could have taken the game and gone somewhere from there. Instead, they eventually Maxroll says that when the game launched, it had unrewarding gameplay. From Hell 1 to Hell 2 and beyond, progression just comes to, quote, a screeching halt. You can either grind 8 hours a day, for 5, 10, 15 combat rating upgrades, or break down and go to the shop and get a lot more for real money. So, yeah, the horribly repetitive gameplay, horribly repetitive grind. There are internal caps inside of Diablo Immortal, so you can't do certain things more than a few times a day. And it's just not worth the grind. It does not feel rewarding. It feels draining, not just according to Maxwell, according to Quinn and whoever the other guy was that we posted the YouTube video of, the people who have now quit Diablo Immortal permanently and just said, fuck this game. Money isn't everything was their 4th point on max roll, and 5 was lack of remedy. Lack of remedy meaning that max roll has no reason to believe that Diablo Immortal, not that ActiBliz wouldn't try to fix Diablo Immortal, but max roll is of the opinion that Diablo Immortal cannot be fixed just because of the way that it's been constructed.
It can't be, because it unless they do something drastic like get rid of pay to win, which they won't do, because everything that I've seen, literally every ad I've seen on Facebook has been like, oh, Blizzard makes X point or X million dollars since the launch of Diablo Immortal. They aren't going to get rid of that money. That revenue stream is too valuable to them. They don't give a shit about us. They don't give a shit about us, about the consumer.
One more time.
Okay, hang on. Let me in the camera now. They don't give a shit about us. They don't. They just don't.
Well, it's
We're
also
up to 4.
It's more than just that. They also don't give a shit about, in regards to Immortal, they don't give a shit about Diablo franchise fans. It's not just that they don't give a shit about the actual the gamer or the consumer playing the game. They announced this to Diablo fans as if we were going to like it, but they knew full well that that's not the market that they're courting. They are courting people who are cell phone gamers and do that predominantly, and yeah, they just dressed it up to look like a good Diablo release. That's my opinion, anyway.
That was 2 of Garrett Wang's biggest mistakes. For the first one was announcing a mobile game at a PC conference, and the second was releasing a mobile game for PC. Both of those. You just should have kept it in the mobile market. Shouldn't have made a big deal about it to those of us.
And then they decided to port it over from. They did it as a port.
Right. Yeah. No. That's exactly what releasing a mobile game for PC. So they ported over the mobile version to PC for us to play. And I agree with you, Mega. We're not the target audience. We're the people who've been playing Diablo since the first Diablo, or since the second Diablo. It doesn't matter. The fucking 2 decades, and we know what the game loop is. We know what we'd like to see in Diablo 4. We know what we wanted to see in Diablo 3. And yeah, we've been through this development, and we've been through this story, and there's none of that in Diablo Immortal. There's none of it at all. It's a mobile game through and through. It doesn't have any of the game loop that I like from Diablo 3, or Diablo 2, or Diablo 1. It's just a grindfest. It's a grindfest designed to generate money for ActiBliz. So, and we've said this before, we don't like this game, we're not playing this game, but Maxwell coming out and saying that they're dropping their entire branch for Diablo Immortal was kind of a punch in the gut to ActiBliz, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they're happy about that. That's one of the largest public-facing, non-Blizzard Diablo-related entities on the web right now. That is just, on the face of it, just rejecting the game.
Yep.
That's killer.
So, rough week for Diablo Immortal.
Good.
But you know what? Just because one mobile game didn't do so well and the developer completely shit all over themselves doesn't mean that every mobile game is bad, or that, we're not going to have fun with the next giant franchise mobile game that comes out. Which is why when Ubisoft revealed their free-to-play mobile shooter, The Division Resurgence, everyone here was absolutely thrilled.
Or as I call it, Diablo Immortal the Shooter.
And
how
there
could
was
this
much
go wrong?
rejoicing. Yay.
Yay.
That's what's gonna be. It's gonna be Diablo Immortal the Shooter. How much fucking monetization can we cram into this shitty little game?
This is really super early, and the game is positioned as a canon opus that brings the acclaimed Tom Clancy's The Division experience to handheld devices. Anyway, it's really super early in the development process for this. They basically just announced it, and there's no indication of how much monetization or how many microtransactions are going to be in this game. We're just all assuming that it's Ubisoft. They're gonna fuck it up.
For sure. I mean, I'm not even gonna pay attention to this game. I'm not gonna pay attention to its development cycle. I'm not gonna pay attention to anything pretty much other than what you guys talk about, as if you guys want to bring it up. But
Linus and I will probably have a good laugh as this progresses. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I don't even care about Division 2. I felt like they
neither of us
failed at Division 2. I feel like Division 2 was a failure when they could have evolved the game into something new and better and more advanced. They made the same fucking game.
Oh, but they added an armor system where you shoot at a guy's armor and the armor falls off. That was new and innovative, right?
Oh, yeah, it really changed things a lot.
Also, Division 2 took place in the summer.
Yeah, and like the coolest thing about Division was the environment of
It was the fucking snow. The snow in New York City.
Post-apocalyptic nuclear winter vibe in New York City. That was fucking great. Like, that was so cool. And first, I played Division literally for half an hour, and I did the first mission, and it's in DC, and everything's bright and green and sunny, and I'm like, this isn't the fucking Division. This isn't what I want, like, ambiance, some shit. I don't want to feel like every other game in pretty well. Like, yeah, it was a letdown. Big letdown.
There's the thing for me, I'll say pretty much the same thing, is that when I played the open beta, or the closed beta, I played one of the betas, and yeah, running around Washington, D.C. in July, when it has the same problems that New York City had in Division 1, which is that there's, the garbage hasn't been picked up for ages because there's been a fucking pandemic and people have just been chucking shit out windows, and that contributes to the whole, wow, this place is really, like, this is post-apocalyptic, as you said, contributes to the environment. When you have trash all over the streets of Washington, D.C. and it's July out, I can smell the garbage while I play. It was really well rendered, which just made me think of that fucking putrid trash smell in the middle of summer when it's been sitting out, when your fucking food waste has been sitting out in a hot black bag in the fucking trash bin waiting to get picked up.
I don't know what you're complaining about. That's just exceptional realism.
You're right. I have no right to complain. Still, game fucking sucked. It wasn't Division 2. It was just Division DLC.
I put a couple of 100 hours into the Division 2, and that was because at the time, that was because at the time I was in Gunslingers, and it was, I was playing with people who I was friendly with at the time, and it was a good time. But
yeah, well, that's the only reason why I have over 1,000 hours in Division 1. It's not because it was such a fantastic game. It's because I was playing with people that I enjoyed hanging out with, and we just happened to play Division. Yeah, that's a fair point. So anyway, yeah, this whole fucking thing, I'm sure that I will keep on top of this because I think this is hilarious. Right after Diablo Immortal comes out, crashes and burns, Ubisoft's like, now's our chance!
We can corner this market.
See, read the fucking room. Clearly, mobile adaptations of video game franchises are not something people are receiving very positively at the moment.
Not currently. Nope. All right, and before we hit the last article of the evening, Ubisoft also made some quasi-disappointing or made a quasi-disappointing announcement. Not really affecting any of us, but it is interesting to note that Ubisoft will be decommissioning a list of online services, September of this year, 2022. So games such as Anno 2070, which I played an awful lot, I think I got 500 hours in Anno 2070, Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Liberation, Assassin's Creed Revelations, and a whole bunch of other shit that I don't care about. You will be unable to play multiplayer, you'll be unable to link Ubisoft accounts in-game, or use online features, and for most of what I just read off, you will also be unable to install or access DLC.
I mean, it's even going a step further than that. Apparently, once this happens, if you've bought the game on Steam, you can't even download it anymore. Like, it's gone.
Right. The asterisk right next to this is actually Assassin's Creed 3, the 2012 release. So the original release of Assassin's Creed 3 will no longer be available for download on Steam, and you can't use any of your DLC or play multiplayer. However, the remaster version, which came out, I don't know, 5 years ago or something like that, that will still be available. But the other Assassin's Creed games, gone.
I think it's just it sets a bad precedent, and this is something that people have been talking about for a long time as we switched from games as a physical object that you buy in a store to games as a digital product that you are granted a license to use, that they can take it back.
Yeah,
and not give you any sort of credit for it.
You're just out the money. It's like, yep, this game's dead now. And a lot of it is simply because of DRM. It's simply because they're shutting down the DRM servers. So all these things that require DRM, which is like everything other than the core game, which is why none of the DLCs work and all this other shit, they, instead of just unlocking it all, they are killing it. I think that is super shitty.
When I read through this article the first time, my initial thought was, this is encouraging piracy. If I want to install Anno 2070, because I own that through Steam, if I want to install that and play that again in the future, for whatever reason, because I fucking bought it and I enjoy it, I'm not going to be able to do that, so what's my alternative if I ever want to play that game again? I'm going to pirate it. I don't really think that's a problem. I've already paid for the game. I'm entitled... I hate using that word, but I paid for the fucking game. I am entitled to use the game that I paid for. I don't care if I accidentally was fucking stupid when I was younger and I signed something that said, oh, you only get a license to play this game. You don't actually own the game. No, that's fucking horseshit. I paid money for it. I want to play Anno 2070. I'm going to find a way to play Anno 2070. Same thing with Assassin's... I won't say the same thing with the Assassin's Creed games. I really like those, but I haven't really gone back. I think I booted up Assassin's Creed Revelations a while ago. And I ran around in that city for a little while and had some fun with it.
Yes, I totally agree with you that Assassin's Creed just, for some reason, doesn't have much replay value.
No, not a ton. Although I did really seriously consider replaying, I think, Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It's one of those. Oh, no, Black Flag. I recently replayed all of Black Flag.
Black Flag was... I loved all of the games. I think in retrospect, I think Black Flag was my favorite. Because I am a real sucker for a game that can do sea combat, like naval combat, that kind of thing, do that well. I think it goes back to a Majora's Mask. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, Black Flag was refined really well. I believe it was an Ubisoft Montreal title. They have the best track record creating Assassin's Creed games. They did 2 and Brotherhood and Revelations and Black Flag. And I think Rogue as well. But yeah, they had refined the engine, the movement system, the combat, and it was a really good... I mean, it was a recent replay. I think it was last year or the year before that, and it was still a fun game, and it held up. It was as good as I remembered it being. Which is saying something, because I think it was, like a 2000... maybe it was a 2015 title. Maybe it was actually more recent than I remember it being. But anyway. Yeah, so that's Ubisoft decommissioning online services. I just think it's really something to say that you're not going to be able to install DLC, you're not going to be able to access DLC content, and if it's on Steam, you're not even going to be able to download and install this game anymore. It's just a giant middle finger to the consumer.
Every game has a life cycle. I have no problem with a company saying we are not going to continue to spend money to keep these servers alive. I have no problem with that.
Sure, but release a patch.
When that comes with we're taking away the things that you paid money for, that's
a problem.
Crossing the line. Like, I feel like that should be unacceptable, and it'll be interesting to see if there's any sort of like legal challenges to this, if anybody wants to pursue it. Because when I was doing like my initial reading on this story, it's not really something that's happened. Like, there's not a lot of games that have been legit pulled from Steam. Like, there have even been cases where like indie developers, for one reason or another, like turn their game page into like, you know, whatever shit, and, you know, fuck you Steam, and put whatever on there, and Steam deactivated the page. But if you had the game in your library, you could still download it from Steam servers.
Right.
So, and yeah, this is explicitly a publisher's decision, not a Steam decision. Like, it takes the publisher telling Steam to remove the game, so...
Yeah. Okay, the last thing, before we say goodbye and good night, at least to Masami, is the first publicly released image taken by the James Webb Space Telescope of the fucking universe. You should see this shit. It's fucking amazing. We have a big-ass, high-definition picture of the universe.
Dude, it's really cool. Put it up with the, compare it to the Hubble shot of the same spot.
And it's just incredible.
Just, and think about how beautiful and amazingly just mind-blowing and awe-inspiring some of the things that we've gotten over the decades of Hubble. Now imagine what we're going to get over the next coming decades from this. This is the first image. And I was reading, that was only 12 and a half hours of exposure. So imagine how much more it might be able to see focusing in on a smaller spot like Hubble did with its first deep field. And like, really, it's insane. This is insane.
It really is fucking crazy, because you like take a look at this picture, you can actually see there's one galaxy that's to the right. It's at 3 o'clock if you're looking at this image, and you can see the arms of the galaxy from how fucking far away? Thousands of light years away. You actually have the definition of a spiral galaxy. That is fucking outstanding. And you can also see some of the biggest and most prevalent stellar nurseries and nebulas across here. It is a gorgeous image. It's gorgeous.
My favorite is the lensing. The gravitational lensing that's just so fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is nuts. So
sorry, I had to share it. I'm a big fucking nerd.
No, it's totally fine. Actually, I saw this article as well. This was all over my feed today, because apparently this was very well received, and
they were building up to it too. They had announced like President Biden will reveal the first image of James Webb Space Telescope. Yeah, it was a big thing.
So we are basically
should be.
We are staring back 4.6 billion years.
Man,
that is crazy. So yeah, and that about does it for the articles. There were a ton of articles posted about Diablo Immortal and the shit show that happened. I tried to condense it down.
You did good.
But I think that game's dead.
I hope it's dead.
At this point, I thoroughly believe that it's dead.
Yeah, I hope so.
Just doesn't know it yet.
Man. Alrighty, well, GG's everybody. And same time, same space next week.
Just to make you guys sad before we leave, a VideoGameChronicle.com article from July 4th. Diablo Immortal is making more than $1 million a day, despite critics.
That doesn't make me sad. That makes me fucking angry.
Imagine how stupid the average person is.
And then give the average person money.
You know what's really crazy about that? If I'm remembering numbers correctly, at its height, Candy Crush was making $6 billion a year.
Oh. At least Candy Crush wasn't a fucking knockoff reboot or remaster of some other game, right? I thought Candy Crush was relatively original, not in its game system, but in its game concept.
I mean, it was
Probably.
a matching game. It's not like it was some previously unrealized video game concept that nobody had executed before. It was just
Right.
they're the ones that got lucky.
Zanga.
Oh,
Remember all those line runner games? Like everybody releasing line runner games, and then like that
Oh
one
god.
got famous, and they made $1 billion, and yeah, it's seems to just kind of be luck of the draw.
damn it. Alright, yeah, anyway. So yeah, penis, and fuck Putin. Catch you guys next
Yeah.
week.
Fuck Putin.
Winnie the Pooh!